Hey, what is up, you guys? It is Chromat here, and this is Gospel. No, for real. I'm showing you guys how to mix down, how I do a mix down of This is Gospel. I recreated the entire chorus, the entire first chorus into FL Studio, and I'm going to show you what it sounds like. But first, this is what the original sounds like. Actually, let me turn off the master chain. There we go.
Love me, let me go. If you love me, let me go.
And that's what the original sounds like, and this is what mine sounds like, even with the isolated acapella. Whoops. This is what mine sounds like.
Love me, let me go. If you love me, let me go. 'Cause these words are knives and often leave scars. The fear of all.
Now, it doesn't sound as polished as the original, but that's okay. We're just doing a basic mix down here today. That rhymed all the time. Okay, I'll shut up now. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn off all of the effects for all of the tracks because we're going to start from the very beginning. Okay, so first things first, faders. We're going to get everything right. We're going to get all the faders right first. Now, for the boot bass at least, we're going to turn on the guitar rig because it needs that distortion. So this is what it sounds like with the drums. Sorry, that is too loud. So one of my favorite mixing techniques that I like to employ is turn it all down and then play the track and then close my eyes and then turn the fader up until it sounds just about right to me. Did I turn off? Okay, yeah, I did. Okay, so alright, so here we go. Once again, play the song, close my eyes, turn up the faders until it sounds right. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing for the rhythm guitar. By the way, this is going to be loud, so just an FYI. We're going to do the same thing for the lead guitar as well. Let's put this on a loop, just in case. Vocal chords 2. Okay, so now that everything is in order, let's go ahead and polish up the track a little bit. The first thing I noticed was that the kick drum is lacking presence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my Maximus. Now, what exactly is this Maximus doing? Well, it's just compressing everything. It's just so what it started off like that. I just did this, and it compressed the kick drum to give it more presence. Actually, those O's are kind of annoying the hell out of me, so let's go ahead and EQ that out. Right about here. It's right about there. There we go. That dampened it out. So okay, so, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the snare drum too, is I did the Maximus and then just compressed it a little bit to give it a little bit more presence. If you love me, Now you'll notice that I added all of this extra stuff like the P controller and parametric EQ to the kick drum. Now the parametric EQ isn't doing anything at the moment, but what did I add the Fruity P controller for? Well, what the P controller is practically a sidechain / LFO tool. So whatever, and it's translated into controller data. So what I did was I added a P controller, and then I added the parametric EQ here to the boo bass, and I linked the P controller fader 1 up here to the P controller, so that whenever the kick drum is hitting, whenever the P controller is hitting, the kick drum is ducking its lower frequency so that it'll make room for the sub bass of the kick drum to hit, and then as the kick drum fades out, the sub bass of the bass guitar comes back in. Okay, now what else did I do? Oh yes, the rhythm guitar. So what did I do here? Guitar rig 5. Well, this is actually the reason why I added guitar rig is that this is actually the dry channel right here. It's just the dry guitars right there. So it sounds like, and then I added guitar rig to give it that distortion. Whoops. Okay, so when you're double tracking, meaning you're recording your guitar twice, like I did right here, panning one hard left and the other one hard right, and you're using Guitar Rig 5, you have to be careful because in Guitar Rig, by default, it comes in mono. So like it'll have that turned off, all the stereo effects turned off, and it'll be played in mono. Even though this one is being panned hard, or this one's being panned hard right. It's not playing it. Oh yeah, that's right, because the right is turned off. So this one is being panned hard left, and Guitar Rig is only showing the right input. But if we enable the right input, both the right channel will come in as well. But it's still in mono. Because, let's see, where is it? There we go. Because these stereo options are not enabled. And once we enable them, we get stereo. Okay, and basically what I did after that was that I added the Edison right here so that I could resample it into this thing so that it would just save up CPU right there. Still the same. Okay, now the Fruity limiter. I added this so that I can make the side chain. So as you can see, whenever the track is playing, whenever the kick and snare hit, by the way, the kick and snare are both linked up to the sidechain parameter, and the sidechain parameter is linked up to my bass guitar, my lead guitar, and my rhythm guitar. And so basically whatever information is going through the sidechain is coming as a sidechain input to these tracks. So I added the Fruity limiter here for the side chaining, and so whenever the kick and snare hit, it's ducking out the rhythm guitar, as you can see right there. And then I did the same thing for the lead guitar as well. And just to give it some additional texture, I added the Valhalla Vintage Verb, which is just reverb. You can add any reverb and it'll give it some texture. Some producers like to use sends for the reverb, but honestly, I like for some elements like and for some songs like rock songs, I like adding the reverb to the individual sends to give the tracks some texture to it. And I even added it to this one as well, which is the drum bus. Now let's see, what did I do here? Oh, before I get into the drum bus, the lead guitar, I did the same thing to the lead guitar as I did with the rhythm guitar. As you can see, the rack is the same. Give it some texture. By the way, here's how much of a difference the reverb makes in the track. Let's turn off the reverb. And it's especially prevalent in the lead guitar. It makes it sound like it's in a room, which is what you want in a rock song. You want everything to sound like it's being played in a room. You want to give it some dimension and space. So for the settings, I just set the mix to like 24 and then set the decay around to 127. I should probably change the low cut so it stopped reverbing at certain frequencies, and I left everything else alone. Let's see, rhythm guitar, same thing. Probably turn up the low cut too, except similar. I had a little bit of a less decay and a little bit of a less mix, so that it just around 20-25% is just enough to give it some texture while maintaining the sound that you want. So if I were to turn the mix all the way up, so 20% is just about a good enough spot for it to be. Let's see. I haven't added any processing to the reverb yet, but before we get to the acapella yet, but let's get to that later on. So let's turn on what we did here. So what I did with the drum bus is I added a wave shaper to it, and what this is basically just a saturator, just a slight saturation, to give all of the drum elements some additional presence and distortion. And then I also gave it some reverb for some additional texture. Now, the acapella doesn't seem like it's fitting in yet, so let's add some reverb to it. Similar thing, just around there, and around 20% reverb in the mix. And by the way, a good way to tell if your mix is running perfectly is to go on your master chain and just add the limiter and crank that shit up. Because if your mix sounds good at a low volume, but it doesn't sound better at a higher volume, then something is wrong with your mix. And so I am advocating basically just mixing with and without the limiter at the same time. So let's see. Okay, so with all that said and done, let's see what else we need to do. Oh, and I basically just turned down the drum bus because when I added the limiter on, the drums were overpowering everything. We can also try mixing in mono, which is basically turning this knob right here, this stereo separation knob, all the way to the right. So something to keep in mind when you're double tracking guitars and you're making them stereo, aka panning one hard left, panning one hard right, and the phase differences in both takes will be apparent in mono, and therefore phase cancellation will exist when you make anything stereo. So keep that in mind. But if you can mix it well enough in mono, it'll sound better in stereo. let's leave it on mono for now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the EQs to everything, just to give it some polish and make everything fit in the mix. Oh. Let's add another EQ because I don't want to bother that one. That one is specifically for the sidechain. And then another EQ over here. Oh, I didn't even click on it. What? Okay. EQ, and let's leave that one on. Actually, put the EQ above the reverb. I like doing that better. Yeah, we'll leave the drums the same for now. Okay, so let's start with the two elements that will most likely conflict with each other, the rhythm and the acoustic. Now you can see that they're conflicting around this area around here, somewhere between the 500s to the 10,000s. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to bring this down so that it won't conflict with the bass that's playing. Same thing for this one. Bring it down right around here too. For the bass, I'm going to do something similar, just really quick. Really fast. Remember, work really fast. That way you won't get bored and just stop doing things because you just didn't feel like it. Okay, so here's the parametric EQ for the vocal. So how does that sound with the original? The drums actually sound a lot more saturated in the original. Okay, let's turn off mono because it'll sound better. Okay, and then let's add a little bit additional saturation to the drums. Did I turn on the limiter? I did. So add some more saturation to the drums. Bring things out a little bit. And then specifically add additional saturation to the snare. Distortion. And that's pretty good. Let's compare it to the original one more time. Oh, sorry about that. Turn off the limiter on the master track. And now turn on the limiter in the master track. So yes, there we go. We just made the, aside from the drums are different sounding, but we basically remade the entire chorus to This Is Gospel and mixed it. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like the video or dislike the video and tell me something in the comments that you guys didn't like. If you guys want suggestions for future videos, please go ahead and submit those in the comments as well. And also be sure to check out my previous videos. I have many playlists. Well, not many playlists. I do have many playlists, but anyway, I have many videos on music theory and music composition and arrangement. I also have music production tutorials coming soon. And I also specifically, my favorite music production tutorial that I made so far was the Serum one, where I use Google AI Drum Machine to make unique Serum wavetables, and that will be on the left over here, and over here on the right will be my music composition / theory playlist. And so if you guys like this channel, be sure to subscribe. I make 2 videos every week, sometimes more, because I will release random videos in which I feel like showing you guys stuff. And as always, you guys have a nice day.